And we are on T&W Podcast. Episode what, Kevin? Episode 11, right?
Getting into the double digits. Well, that was the last episode, but getting started.
I mean, hey, dude, this is great going. For everybody watching, welcome back. And if you're new to our channel, my name is Neville Thomas, and I'm here with
Kevin Wang, the one and only.
the one and only, and the man's a legend. So we got a few.
Not really, but I'm an urban legend, more like.
Trust me, this man's a legend. High school, in college, he does so much stuff. It's truly amazing the work he does. For those of you who are new, me and Kevin are both supply chain management students at Michigan State University, and we bring up different articles to give more of a college student's point of view, what is going on in the world, how this impacts, and specifically as future supply chain professionals, what this means for the future. All right. So Kevin, you want to get us started? Kevin and I have a very fondness for personal finance, and Bitcoin grabs a lot of attention. Kevin's he's a short-term trader.
That's just a polite way of saying I do some sort of day trading type of thing. Not as much of day trading per se, but more like week trading.
That's why I like to call it Kevin short-term, because he's not holding it over a year. I'm a bit more of a long-term investor, and that is the type of play I like to use. Granted, I'm not smart as like all these day traders out there, so I don't know what's going on.
It is geared more towards, well, each of our strategies is towards our own goal. Neville is more towards building wealth for later on in life. Mine is more towards sort of creating an initial fund that I can draw upon in the next couple of years for personal interests. But either way, one thing that's always been super big in the personal finance community, it's a super big topic, it's very controversial, seen as a hedge, it's seen as a investment, seen as everything really. It's Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Bitcoin's the big one, and then there's a couple other ones, Ethereum, and then there's the meme ones, Dogecoin, so on and so forth. But Bitcoin's what we're talking about today. So recently, in the past 2 weeks, I don't know if you've been looking at the news too much, but I believe it was Amazon. Maybe it was Amazon. I don't know, but it was not Amazon. Okay, it was Tesla.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk and Tesla are accepting Bitcoin. And they also put a bunch of investment into Bitcoin, so it's gone up by about another 50% from 30% or 30,000 about 3 weeks ago or something like that, roughly around there. Now it's at, well, I haven't checked recently, but I remember last week it was around 45,000. So I don't know. My opinion is I don't want to touch cryptocurrency with a 10-foot pole. It doesn't. It goes up, it goes down, it crashes. It's way too volatile. I've seen it like, you don't want your money to be randomly dropping 50% of its value or randomly gaining 50% of its value at random times. And there's incredibly high transaction fees with Bitcoin as well. So I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. Also, it's been overhyped way too much. It's like when I wanted to go trade it on like Robinhood and stuff like that, they have like some sort of like, it's like a trendy like electric theme to it or something. I'm like, this just feels too much like a gimmick type of thing.
Okay, so you are very skeptic about Bitcoin. How do you feel about cryptocurrency in general?
I think cryptocurrency it's good. I believe money should eventually start moving towards electronic mediums. Like, it's currently already towards it, but there's to take China for example, there's an initiative to get rid of cash entirely. Something like that is I wouldn't say it's progressive, but it is another step that has interesting results, and I think that's what society should move towards. But I'm like, crypto's, in my opinion, good. It's something we need to advance. But Bitcoin and that type of investment type of or it's sort of seen as an investment type of crypto is like, I don't know. I don't like it.
Okay. So that's very interesting. So when I first came out with Bitcoin, I was kind of like astonished at the fact that what it was, and like some of the people I've heard, like I was like, Bitcoin. I'm not sure if you remember back at this, Kevin, but like when it was like $1,000 or something, somewhere along the lines, it went up to like 15,000 and stuff, and that was like the first spike up, and then it came back down, and a lot of people made a lot of money, and like what Bitcoin's up so much at this point, right? So people have spent a lot of money on it. I think cryptocurrency is the future, just because us printing out so much money and things like that, it just can't last long. So the thing is no one really has a solid foundation with cryptocurrency itself. Some of these large banks like JP Morgan Chase have moved into this cryptocurrency space, which is kind of interesting because Jamie Dimon was first kind of against it, and because I was listening to one of his talks, but later on, he like now with the move with JP Morgan Chase moving into that sort of area, that's very interesting. How we can see, especially with financials itself, like cryptocurrency is the future. It's coming to it. It's showing it, right? Which is going to be very interesting. And I'm about to bring up a question, but I'm not a supporter of just buying Bitcoin. By the way, I'd like to just state out here that me and Kevin, we are not certified financial professionals. We're just two people talking and expressing our opinions. But either way, I'm more of a believer. Like I know, like Fidelity, they came out with their first index fund for Bitcoin, not for Bitcoin, for cryptocurrencies, but it required a minimum of $100,000 investment. So I think that was kind of like interesting the way they brought that, just because it's truly amazing. Like it allows for you to get diversified, but like you can find out and see what you want in crypto, and you can grow with it over time because of the value of it, right? There will be more demand, and there's going to be the need for more value of it. So because it's not getting printed out, the value won't be just dropping right off the planet. The same thing like gold and silver and other types of commodities. So I got a question now. With cryptocurrency, it's all online, right?
Yes.
We've heard the phrase cash is king. Cash is king. Right. Why is cash king? Because you can show cash, and it's a bit of a more bargaining technique. Like when you go and you trying to buy something, like if you're trying to buy a used car or something, and somebody's asking for $1,000, or somebody's asking $1,500, and you got $1,000. Let's just say you want to give him $1,000. What are you gonna do? Flip out your debit card, a credit card, and stick it in front of him? No, that's not gonna be convincing. But if you show him, like,
see, I think that phrase doesn't hold as much. It doesn't hold as much water as it used to.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Okay, so this is, I'm gonna sidetrack this off a little, but why? Do you know why there's a lot of credit card debt? Like it's easily created
because people don't track their finances, and they
it's
can't control their Yep.
It's not just tracking finances or controlling the thing. So when we trade, okay, before there was money, we traded for items, right? Like I would trade you something. Yeah. I would trade you my mouse for that mic, and we would bargain for it, right? I would be giving up something to receive something, and I could feel it. There would be a pain sensor for me saying, oh, I'm giving up something so that I can get something else. There's a pain sensor, and I'd be focused on that. And when it comes to cash, it's more of like you can hold on to cash, you can feel the cash, you can touch the cash. Mm-hmm. But when I give up the cash, I'm getting something in return. At which point you begin to value the cash, how you use it, because you see it leaving your hand.
See, that's the thing. I agree. Cash has that psychological effect. It's incredibly important, and that gives it weight. So, like, for example, if someone offered you like $10,000 for your car, but they're like, I'll PayPal it to you, you're gonna think about it. But if someone's like, hey, I got like 100 Benjamins right here, hand you a stack of Benjamins, just like a full stack of Benjamins. They're like
one of those thick things that you can get.
Yeah,
on the
like
bank.
with the binding. They're like, maybe this for your car.
Oh my god! Well,
that's a different weight.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. Like when people go and they go to the store, they spend like, oh, I want to buy this, I'm going to buy this, this, and this. They're giving a credit card, but then they're getting it right back after it's being swiped.
Yeah.
After that, like initial hit, it's more of like, oh, I didn't like. There's no pain sensors going off in here, going, hey, I didn't have it. To them, it's I didn't have to give up anything, and I got all this stuff. But in reality, what happened? You're just gonna have to pay it later on.
No, but see, that's the thing. That's the I feel like that's because people don't manage their finances. They don't track their finances. Because I sort of feel that pain, but that's because I have a running balance, or like I have a running total of my balance in my head. So every time I go out to buy something, I know like, oh, I'm sitting at 200 in my bank account. Or I'm sitting at like, I don't know, 600 in my bank account. If I buy like $50 of groceries, I'm like, oof, that's just $50 right there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's with personal finance, 20% of it is numbers. 80% of it is emotions, feelings, habits. That is what personal finance is. Anybody who says it's not is lying to you. That's why things that are more of like automatic are very good. They help you so that you go boom, boom, boom.
Again, we're not certified financial managers.
Yeah, but like there's different financial books where everybody's got their different recommendations. When you make things automatic, boom, you force yourself to be where, hey, instead of getting that $2,000 paycheck, it becomes $200 just in your checking account. Why? Because you put $1,000 into your investments. You put another $800 to pay off all your bills, and you're only left with $200 left. Right? So you spending that time doing that is what helps. And now, I think one of the biggest things is like with cryptocurrency, where is going to be the power? Like when you go to someone and you start negotiating with cash, there's power in that. Like you just said, if you've got a stack, you're saying, hey, somebody's asking for 15,000 for a car, and you're giving them 10,000, and you show them a stack of like a fake stack of 100 bills, which is $10,000. Guess what? They're very easily ready to accept. It becomes a lot easier because they see it and they feel the pain if you walk away with that money. Right?
Okay.
So with cryptocurrency, where does that come in? Is there a new form of leverage like that?
I believe it doesn't come in. It does not come in.
It does not. Okay.
It's sort of just a value. It's still not physical. It's still just virtual. I feel like it's the same thing as debit cards and stuff like that. Or like when you're transferring, or when you're like paying off your credit card or something like that, your credit card balance. It's just like you're transferring money. It's just numbers that are changing to you. Or at least a part of you that only cares about physical things. So.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
All right. So you think Bitcoin is going to be something that more companies will accept as forms of payment now?
No. Until it's more stable.
Okay. How does it become more stable?
I don't know. But if I was a company, I would not accept Bitcoin.
Really?
It's just too inherently unstable. If I accepted or maybe I would accept Bitcoin, but I would immediately resell it.
To cash?
Yeah, to USD.
Really?
Because I would not see, like, yes, I could hold on to it and maybe it will grow as an investment. Or, as it's historically done, it'll drop 20% one day and suddenly instead of being in the black, I'm in the red.
Okay. See, I think that'll happen. That I don't know. That's gonna be something that people.
Like
Here's
there's so
buy
many
and hold is a
industries out there
strategy.
with there's so many industries out there with razor tight margins where that inherent instability of Bitcoin would just ruin you.
That is very valid. That's actually extremely valid. I think like what restaurant industry, it's they go by very thin margins. So I can see that. I can see that a lot. One thing I will say is this: there's always the thing of buy and hold, right? There's always a strategy of buy and hold, and that can last. Like we've seen Bitcoin go up and up and up. Literally, there's so many memes out there of people going, "Oh, people didn't trust Bitcoin 10 years ago. Now where is it at? Wow, they made so much money." Like, right? So there, buy and hold is a strategy, and it's a risky one, but it's a lot better than when your options are either hold on because it'll go up in the future or sell at your losses now or cut your losses now. It's a much better approach if you have, but the thing is you got to have cash and you need to be stable financially. And I know like as an entrepreneur, you need to have money saved, like a lot of it, because guess what? There's many entrepreneurs out there who didn't get their first paycheck till their business was running for 2 years
Or more.
Yeah,
A lot of them
exactly.
has been like 5 years till they get their first paycheck.
For themselves, they have to pay for expenses, they have to pay for their employees, but they themselves as the entrepreneur don't get paid
Yeah,
for
but a lot
years.
of the time entrepreneurs don't see a cent of the profit until like usually their employees get paid like a million times more by the time they see their first paycheck.
And that's because of that, as an entrepreneur, you need to be saving a lot of money before you become an entrepreneur. Otherwise, you will not be able to do it.
Yes. All right, I think we've exhausted our topic of Bitcoin for now.
I believe so
Maybe
too.
we'll revisit in the future when there's other events.
Oh, I'm positive
Next
we
up,
will.
we got the whole thing with education. It's been on hold for a year. There's some changes. Neville, would you like to take the stage?
Okay, fine. We can talk about teachers. So, in what we see is with so again, this is an article on the Wall Street Journal, and this is parents and teachers are clashing between ideologies, and this is about whether schools should open or reopen. And this is something we wanted to talk about because I think this is kind of like interesting because um as like you can even apply supply chain to this, but it is right now teachers and parents want their students to get back into school. From reading this article, I understood how there's many advocates like where they want their children to be at school, they want them to be inside of school, um, getting that in-person feeling because sometimes just being online it's just not possible. And I know me and Kevin we're both online, so we'll talk about what we feel, but just being at college, and we'll talk about that. But then you have teachers out there, and many unions are out there saying like it's not safe for teachers to be in school and stuff, and they're trying to get them vaccinated, but still having teachers in there is just not safe with that many children. And that's also an extremely valid point. Both of these are valid points that are brought up. And so the question becomes, how do we handle this type of situation? And I believe this is a supply chain issue. But Kevin, I'd like to get your thoughts first on
it. See, there's no good answer to this.
Okay.
Because I don't believe you should put off someone's education for so long, like what's going on right now, especially with something like virtual, because at a certain point you're just not used to learning anymore, and a lot of people once they get out of school don't get back into the school mindset. But then again, you can't you can't sort of you can't risk someone's life.
Yeah.
It's like school's important, but so is your life.
Yep.
So it's kind of like usually just looking at the stakes, you're like, yeah, just keep them home, I'd rather them be alive than be alive. But like at some point, you got to realize that that's kind of just not acceptable. So in this case, you have to. I guess it's one of those things where you have to look a lot closer. You need to look at more of the individual details because both options are good, or both options have validity. You just need to analyze further to find a better path. Also, I just want to point out as well that yes, most people are having issues with learning virtually, but there are some who have actually learned better on a virtual environment.
Yeah.
Not many, at least not that I've seen, but there are a few.
Okay. So then, would you classify this as a supply chain issue? And let me explain why I personally would so that it gives you more.
Well, see, the thing is, everything's a supply chain issue.
Is it possible that like we should also make sure that teachers are getting first priority and like, because I know there was another article out there and like a headline of like, we got the vaccine manufactured so fast, but how is getting those vaccines to people, how is that being handled, right? Is that properly being handled? Is that fitting for what people need? And
I believe the current consensus is no. So the thing is, if we decide to completely bring everyone back to school, right? First off, that's going to strain the system even further. Currently, we're still on sort of like emergency mode, where it's like healthcare and people who are incredibly at risk get it first. But it's like if we do bring everyone back to school, if kids and teachers must also have first priority, or at least like one of the second priority, first priority, something like that.
Yeah,
but
something with immediate priority.
Then there's another thing is if you are immune or like you it's like you don't get sick, but you're a carrier. And then we've all been to school. We all know what happens when one kid gets sick. The whole school gets sick. So, and then they go home, and we all know what happened to those parents. They get sick. So, I don't know. It's something I have to look at.
So, there's another part to this, and it's not just the vaccine, but it's just about online schooling. So, Kevin, how have you personally taken online schooling?
It's been a transition.
Okay.
I'd say the main reason I still don't like it, but the main reason I didn't do well at first was because it was just a method that I had never been used to. Because I had spent like 12 years with in-person schooling and some of these online schooling, like literally never done anything with like online schooling before. So I think I spent probably the good chunk of the year from last spring when we transitioned all the way till, because I remember it was particularly bad in spring. I kind of had the second case of senioritis. In the fall, I did better, but it still wasn't that great. And now I'm staying relatively on top of everything, but not completely. So right now, I'd say it went from unbearable to this is pretty bad to okay, maybe I can handle this.
Okay, yeah. I know I've struggled with online school personally just because I am a very extroverted type of person. I like the feel of just sitting next to people like Kevin in class. And
kind of random and slightly off topic, but you know I'm an introvert, right?
I did not. Really?
Yeah.
You know, that explains a lot. That does explain a lot. But for me, it's just, yeah, that explains a lot, Kevin. But like for me, it's just getting out there and just sitting and being able to say, hey, how you doing? Or like if I missed a bullet point and the professor kept on going forward with the slides, I can go, hey, yo, what was that fourth bullet point? And then you could tell me what it was. But like, and that's that feel. And I don't think like that's a feel that you can get with online. And that's something that I struggle with. But I think something that it forced was like just self-discipline. Keep on going forward. Like I'm not saying that I've got a strict regimen routine that I keep on hitting, but I look for what ways that I can just keep on going, right? And making sure that I'm consistently hitting my deliverables. And I think that's one thing. And I think we're about to finish this topic. So Kevin, I just got one question for you. For all of our viewers out there, what's one tip you would give to that's helped you with online schooling?
Discipline and rigorous scheduling.
Kevin, you stole mine. Here, we'll share. You take one, I'll take one. We'll share it together, okay?
I mean, I kind of just like never could keep up with asynchronous classes because I just like, it's sort of like when you do homework, you never do it until the last day or the last hour, or maybe if you're particularly bad, the last 10 minutes.
Oh, Kevin.
But it's something everyone procrastinates. Like if you see anyone who says I don't procrastinate, they're lying. They just have a system, or they just have something that allows them to sidestep procrastination. But if you take away that system, they'll procrastinate. Everyone procrastinates. That's what online schooling sort of destroys. Is like it really messes you up because everyone procrastinates on those videos, right? So how I keep is a rigorous schedule. So I have time set aside for every single class, including in asynchronous classes. So even though you don't need to have a certain time every week you do something, I have it set in my calendar, or not my calendar, my schedule. So when the time comes and I don't actually have to go into any Zoom meetings or anything, I just watch the video. I take notes. I still do the things. I just act like it's a normal class. And then discipline, of course, you have to stick to your schedule.
Yeah. Scheduling, I think, has been one of the biggest things for me. It's just visually seeing that time go away. And then if you don't do it, that, oh man, I still got to do this item and you got to move it around. I got to move this homework over there, move this over here. Like when you visually see it, it brings a new power to it. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've been able to see, and I can totally understand. I understand that feeling, Kevin, and that's one of the biggest things that's helped me. Being able to calendar everything is just whether it's just like, and it doesn't even have to be just doing homework. It can be just doing anything else, studying, or knowing when due dates are. One of the biggest things I did was first things in the semester, I took all the due dates for my classes and I just stuck them onto my calendar. So then I could just see them all in one area instead of having to go through every single syllabus all the time. Right? And so that was one of the best things that helped me. So for those of you out there, I think calendaring is just the best thing. You don't even if you don't strictly follow to it, that's fine. But visually seeing your time go away from your time being, wow, my time's so open. And then you put in just some of your homework and you're like, wow, my time is gone. It forces you to say, hey, I've got pockets in time and where I'm more available, and you become more conscious of it. So then you can attack and go after opportunities. So I think, Kevin, this is time for our last article for today.
Snow. I mean, it's been snowing pretty bad lately. I mean, I don't know if you were around, but yesterday, day before, holy crap, that was 2 feet of snow outside. I was shoveling my driveway is 3 times the size of a regular driveway, and that's not because I have merch or anything. It's just because my house is built sideways, so it goes to the side and then it goes to the front. So I just have a normal house, and my driveway is huge. I don't understand. Why is it like this? I have to shovel it by hand.
Oh, Kevin. Oh, Kevin. Oh, Kevin.
Yeah, okay. So that was rough. But
yeah.
Anyway.
No, but here's the thing. Both of us are here. Yeah, both of us here in Michigan, it's been bad. It's been bad. But Texas, oh my goodness.
That's just the F and chat right there.
They get snow. Wow. Have they ever got snow?
They got like a couple inches, and they don't have the infrastructure to deal with it.
And see, that's something that's needed to talk about. So what does this bring up after this snowstorm? Right? Has Texas ever dealt with snow?
I don't think so. Not to this scale.
Not from what I thought. And now they have to. So what does this bring up? Like what is this to someone who is in Texas, someone who's moving to Texas? What does this bring up for them? What kind of thought process is this that's going on with having to deal with snow? Do people need to be a bit more cautious? Will industries change? That's in Texas, because like when I think about Texas, I think about farms and like cattle, and that's it's more of a country type of a look. But like in the middle of snow, I don't know how well horses like snow, or cows, or pigs, right? So what does this bring up for them? Do you understand what I mean?
No.
Okay, let me put it this way. This is where my question originally came from. Accounting.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, one of the classes that all business students need to take is Accounting 202, Managerial Accounting.
Yeah, I'm a tutor for that.
Exactly. Kevin's a tutor for that. And managerial accounting is how businesses manage accounting inside. It's not what you see. The external reports are financial accounting. That's what you see of like stock prices and the balance sheets and all that. This is internal accounting. And so one of the topics that's talked about is manufacturing overhead. There's different costs that are associated, and you need to allocate these costs so that a company can be successful. Companies that have factories down in Texas, places that are warm,
mm-hmm.
have not needed to deal with this. They've never had to pay for heating. They never had to pay for.
Well, no, they had to.
I don't know if they had to pay for like winter insurance or something like that. I don't know if that was a thing, but like they didn't have to pay with winter-related expenses. After this snowstorm, that has officially become on their calendar, right?
Yes.
What does this mean for many companies? Do they need?
It's gonna be rough. They're probably gonna pivot a little bit, but they're probably gonna pivot to more towards temporary solutions because they're gonna expect snow not to arrive in the future.
Mm-hmm. Are there companies?
That makes sense.
Are there industries that we can think of that just can't deal with snow? That would be based in like a place like Texas, because like right off the bat, what
agriculture.
I'm thinking is, that's what I was saying. Like things like oranges, but oranges are from Florida.
No, there's a lot of. I don't know how much agriculture there is in Texas. I know California has a lot of agriculture, but any agriculture in Texas is just screwed. Like it's screwed. I'm not an expert on agriculture, but I want to say I have a more, what is it? I'm not a farmer or anything, but I have more insight, mainly because my dad does a lot of agriculture, and well, he's a soybean breeder. He goes around to various plots around in Michigan, and he also does scientific stuff. But either way, I've followed him around sometimes and seen everything. But basically, it's like if sometimes like a frost or like a sudden temperature change like this will just ruin everything for that year. The entire crop is just like ruined. Like maybe some crops are more resistant to temperature changes, but I feel like such a sudden and unexpected temperature change will wreak havoc on the local on all the farmers and crops in the area.
Okay. So then, what does this bring up? Do things become more seasonal? Do people focus more on seasons? Like in the summer and spring is when I can grow more items, maybe even in the fall, but once winter comes, I can't be growing anything. Like Texas used to be a place where year round you can be growing as much as you want. Now that ain't the scenario.
I think it's fine for now. It's probably just going to be there's going to be some price hikes on some certain produce, but I don't think it's going to be too big of an issue, mainly because I don't know about you, but I've never known Texas to be a big agricultural state. So it's not like they're providing a huge chunk of the market. There might be some price increases, but there's probably not going to be way too big of a price increase.
I believe one of the biggest places for agriculture is California.
California and the Midwest.
Yeah. And California and the Midwest. And like they're great places for agriculture. And I think those are two places that just can't get impacted. But
although California is just getting hammered right now. The forest fires have been going. Forest fires?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. But there's also a lot of people leaving California.
That too.
And like not just people, but companies have been leaving California. Like that is a whole nother issue, and we will go into that another day. But for many companies that are down there, so short term, yes. Is it possible this begins talks for a long-term move? Will companies start looking to build factories? Maybe there was a company that was looking to build a factory in Texas, but now they're saying maybe Texas is not a good idea. Maybe we should do Florida because that's the sunshine. That's the sunshine.
That would be different as well. I feel like it will cause a lot of issues with plans and maybe a lot of facilities possibly getting moved around. I wouldn't say they would go to Florida though.
Okay.
Because Texas is dry and hot, which is very good for certain industries. Florida is humid and hot, which is good for different industries. For example, let's say you're a publishing company. You'd want to be in Texas because your books are going to be fine there. They're great for storage in the hot and dry climate is great for books. Florida, you're going to have some issues. Your inventory costs are going to be through the roof.
Okay. So I think this is going to be interesting to see just like how Texas deals with all this winter that they get. And
of course, as Michiganders or Michiganians, we could always have a little chuckle at somebody else panicking over like an inch of snow. But
yes, all of us Michiganders have seen a lot worse and are experiencing a lot worse. Things are extremely snowy. I mean, oh my goodness. So snowy. I'm ready for spring.
Yeah, I don't know about the foot of snow combined with the large driveway.
Kevin, I know me and all our viewers are feeling pain for you right now. All right? All right. I think that's time to call it a wrap for episode 11.
All right. See you guys. Probably in a week. If we're not busy, maybe in 2 weeks.
We'll make it in a week. Don't worry. And we'll try to make next week even more special. But everyone, thank you so much for being with us. And have a nice day.